As time is flying, and maybe as some of you have to fly really physically, I suggest we begin just now. So I let the floor to our next presenter from German SDI, Nicolas Hageman.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's working.
It's working. Yeah. Thank you, and welcome everybody to my presentation. My name is Nicolas Hageman. I'm working for the Coordination Office of the Spatial Data Infrastructure of Germany. And I'd like to spend the next 20 minutes with you telling you about what we think is inspiring 2018, about the user requirements that we know up to today, about the expectations the users have, and about the reality, the current status of Inspire that we think is nowadays reality. So, just what I will show you, I will give you a short introduction on the background of Inspire, and basically on the example of Germany, on the German SDI situation, and I think it's an example for Inspire in general. Then I will show you the current status in Germany, and to some degree also for Inspire in general. And then I will focus on the expectations that users have, that we witnesses that users have, and then the requirements that result from these expectations. And in the end, I will tell you some challenges that we see, that we've also heard the last 2 days. And I'm not giving solutions. I'm not telling you how to overcome shortcomings. I'm just giving some input to the discussion. And I think this contributes to the discussion we had the last 2 days at all. So, on the background, we have in Germany our GOI-DE, which is our national spatial data infrastructure, and it's a joint initiative. It's for providing access to spatial data sets of federal government, states level, and the municipalities levels. As you know, we have the very strong federal states in Germany, so we have different situations, different definitions of the law. And the base for any action is written down in an administrative agreement between the municipalities, the government, and the states. So this is an example for a decentralized structure. That means we have one huge actor, one nation, a federation, with its own powers. We have then the Länders, Bundesländer, that are quite sovereign in some parts. They have their own authorities, and then we have more than 40,000 municipalities, and they are all responsible for following the SDI, for following Inspire, and they agreed to work together in the GOI-DE, and this agreement was between those players. Since 2006, we have our GOI-DE, so you see this was even before Inspire. And we had several amendments. I mean, the things are evolving. We had in 2008 then that we took Inspire into account, and that meant that we, the GOI-DE, are the national contact point for Inspire, and we have a coordination structure how Inspire is implemented in Germany. We had several other amendments in 2013. We added some funding for common components. That means that we, even though it's a distributed, decentral system, we agreed on common technical components that are necessary, in our opinion, to realize such a spatial data infrastructure. We have a portal, a discovery service, a test suite, and a registry. And we had amendments in 2018. There we did some very important amendments on the future of the SDI and also for Inspire. Up to then, the agreement of the GOI-DE of our national spatial infrastructure was seen as a project and was always limited in time. So it was only seen as a project, and nowadays it's open-ended. So we accomplished the step that we said spatial data management and Inspire will last longer than just for 2020 or maybe 21. Having that said, we have 17 laws. Our lender have their own laws, their own implementations of Inspire, and we have one for the federal level. And
microphone.
Microphone. Oh, the red light is showing. Okay. So we have Inspire as the one legal basis for our national SDI, but we have very individual interpretations of Inspire implementation and the Inspire rules. And the federal laws slightly differ from each other, but we have checked even by the Commission that these ways of implementation are in line with Inspire. We even had a pre-pilot study where it was tested, where it was evaluated if Germany is following Inspire regulation, also on the implementation, and it was found out that we do. So this situation in Germany is what is part of Inspire. This is Inspire, and having this in mind for the European Union, it's even more a mess. So where are we right now? You all know the Inspire roadmap, and I'm not going into too much details. I just want to show, to make up our minds that what we have achieved. I mean, we started with no European SDI, but from the implementer's point of view, we are already on the home stretch. I mean, the final deadline is coming, so we have succeeded some steps of implementation. Not everything is working quite nowadays, but we have achieved important milestones. So Inspire is about the implementation of standards. First, we start with the identification, then we have the metadata regulation. We have different deadlines for the annexes. You know all this. We have central discovery services. We have CSW services. So this is established. We have established view services for all annexes. So this is working as well. We have download services. So this is done. I mean, that's quite an achievement for such an infrastructure. And on the other side, we have for the newly collected restructured data, of course, they had to be interoperable since quite a while. But nowadays, we are focusing on the harmonization to get the interoperable part in Inspire. And we recently had this deadline from Annex 1. So this is where we are right now. We might think that we have now the interoperable, the harmonized data in Inspire. So we are looking for the users and wondering why don't we have users when we have some achievements right here. So this is just another way, an example from Germany that these steps from the Inspire identification for the metadata regulations, for the discover, for the view catalog rules, for the view rules, for the download regulations, for the implementing rules. We have solutions for all of that, and we have this on the EU level. We have our technical guidance, and we also have this in Germany. We have documents for all of this, so it is possible to implement Inspire from the Inspire implementer's point of view. And I think this is an achievement that we, in the current situation, we also have a documentation, and I'm currently working on it to extend it for restricted data for critical infrastructures, how they have to provide the data, or they can provide the data under Inspire, but still keep their access restricted. So this is just an example I usually give at this point. This is from the last monitoring exercise. This is for Germany. You can see on this graph here that We have more than 21,000 services. We have more than 22,000 data sets. And we have increasing numbers of data providers that participate in Inspire. So, I mean, we have the resources. So there is something there. And what do we do now with it? This is basically this slide shows the same information just on the EU level. These are the numbers of data sets available. We have green indicators for some for the metadata conformity and stuff. So the resources are there. We have the services. Here France has a huge increase in the last monitoring exercise of services. So we even have some lessons learned on implementation. So we do know how to implement. So that is the implementer's point of view. We have the resources available. We fulfill the regulations. So why do we always look for users and wonder why the users can't use our resources? You do know the new Inspire GeoPortal, the thematic viewer. And just to give you an impression about, we are still talking about the current status. In the thematic viewer, just by the GeoPortal, I think it's possible to receive data within like 3 clicks. And it's very good, very user-oriented, very user-driven. But for example, if you look now for a certain data set, for example, for one theme, I've chosen protected sites in Germany, and you look what's available for protected sites in Germany. We have more than 400 metadata elements, and only 82 are direct downloads. But of course, the user might expect something else, which I will show later. And as you can imagine, the download availability here has also some technical problems within the new GeoPortal. But also, this should be interpreted that we also, from the implementer point of view, have some difficulties, some technical difficulties. So it's not all working that we are that we have done so far. So we should keep on working, doing our implementing job. But if I'm a user now and I want to have a protected sites data set from Germany, we did this example of what is available from Germany, and we find this situation. I think we have seen this now several times from the EU Commission, from Copernicus. We have these gaps where the law is interpreted differently, but still in line with Inspire. We have a municipality sometimes that provide the protected sites data. We have then federal states that do, some do not. So it's a huge mess for the user. Still, this is in line with Inspire. I mean, this is not what the user would probably need, but this is in line with Inspire. So on the other hand, focusing on the user, we have this increasing demand. I mean, we're talking about this now for 2 days for spatial information. We have also on national level, there are increasing demands for central access points for reference and sectoral data, collaboration platforms to provide a coordinated service provision. We're talking about the digitalization and the contribution of spatial data, and this list is open-ended. And at EU level, of course, we have different demands arising, different use cases. We have different directives. We've heard of the ITS directive, travel, whatever. We have the reporting requirements which is dealt with in the project data set subgroups. So there's already some work on that. And of course, again, sustainable development goals, core data. We've heard about that. So I would just like to go on to one example for user demand and for the user expectations that emerged this summer. You probably know this document, the Project Geospatial Datasets for the European Commission. This was a document for the MIC in this summer, and this example from the European Commission shows a consolidated and consistent overview of Commission user needs. of cross-cutting and domain-specific requirements for UI geospatial information and data products. So the European Commission sat together and said, what do we actually need in 2018 and for the future for our decisions and policy making to support sustainable development and other policies. So I'm focusing now on these expectations that are in this document. I have some quotes from this document. It's said there that the ultimate goal is to have harmonized national data sets from member states that can be combined into consistent EU-wide data sets without or limited further processing. And I mean, this expectations really good. It's a beautiful vision. But in my opinion, this is not inspired. So another quote, the goal is that the Commission can integrate national data into pan-European data sets, consuming national inspired services, without the need to harmonize the data. And I found it quite interesting that this is an expectation from the European Commission. This is, of course, the European Commission as a data user, not of the guardian of the treaties, because they do know what the situation of Inspire and the limits of Inspire, possibilities of Inspire. Another quote is, there's a growing trend to open data. This is fully in line with Inspire's principles. This is true. But at no point in Inspire said that we have to do open data. So how can we expect that Inspire provides open data? I mean, at this point, it seems there are others. I'm not going to further details. It's obvious that these expectations could not be fulfilled by current Inspire as it is. I mean, that's quite obvious. We deal with Inspire, we do know. So they are talking about final vision in the document. And the final vision for all stakeholders of Inspire should be that the creation and availability of semantically and spatially harmonized data, interoperable data, pan-European data sets based on the open services are available for member states. And I think this is a beautiful vision, but this is not what's in Inspire. We have seen that, well, that's why I gave this background introduction. We have seen that this is a decentralized, distributed system, different implementations, different interpretations, and this is not written in Inspire. So I think you can't expect this. The requirements of the European Commission are there, but this is not what Inspire as you can deliver. So they also mentioned some shortcomings. We have heard them now within several presentations here. When Julian said so, we had from Copernicus the shortcomings, the quality, the scale, the thematic coverage, the use conditions, the reactivity, and speed at which requirements can be met, harmonization difficulties, and some problems with the download services, WFS limitations, stuff like that. So my conclusions are that there seems to be a gap between the expectation and the reality of Inspire. These shortcomings are just shown, seem to be outside of the current Inspire regulation. I mean, it's not possible to deal with these shortcomings, but they are user-driven. You always have to have a use case and then work on the shortcomings. You cannot, per se, provide a ready-made product from a resource infrastructure. So this vision the Commission is talking about is quite ambitious, and it's doubtful if it's achievable. And in our opinion, it's necessary to see Inspire as a step. It provides resources, but there's always a second step necessary on refining, on progressing data. I was very happy to hear that Copernicus said that they would do the next step to deliver pan-European data sets, but this is not part of Inspire. So Inspire can always contribute. It's a wheel in the clockwork. It can contribute to specific solutions that the users need, but it cannot deliver generic products for all the use cases. So I think this is the last slide. For the first time, I mean, we really appreciate this. This demand is now in a document on the table. For the first time, we have this expectations and requirements for use cases verbalized by the central player of Inspire. It's really good. But it's important to understand Inspire as a first step towards the envisioned data harmonization and not as the final step for the data harmonization. So what could we do now for Inspire requirements to deliver this product? The Commission has some ideas, maybe to add some additional efforts to the member states, but why should they do it? There's no obligation to it. Mandate GOI-DE, other stakeholders, other EU services, Commission services. So I think supporting this use case and other use cases, core data Copernicus, can be useful to show the proof of Inspire benefit, that the spatial data infrastructure can generate benefit, but it's not a per se solution just to say the member states or anybody else has to do it now when it's not in Inspire. So now we think this is a situation with a final deadline that Inspire can adapt to the shortcomings, to the new situation, and set its course for the future. This has to be rethought and evaluated, but there are always more steps necessary than just Inspire, especially the infrastructure, to generate a significant benefit of the European spatial data infrastructure. And that's it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for these very interesting conclusions that most of us probably shared. I would suggest not to ask questions for the moment because you would like to be online with the presentation, but keep your question because we have a discussion at the end of our session. So I will now invite Benedict Becker, who will speak about